Hi, I'm Fred Satilli, and many people have heard me say over quite a long time now that next to my health, second only to my health, is the friends that I have. I'm very blessed to have good health, and I'm very blessed to have really wonderful friends. And I was talking with one of them last night, and he came up with an issue or something that's a little different than what you usually hear. And I like my videos to be a little bit different than, I'm not a backbencher, I don't want to just rehash something that you can get everywhere else. And so when this guy talked with me about this, and when you talk with your friends, the ideas develop, right? Like you have some kind of an idea, and then there's some refinement and some expansion. And this guy, I'm never going to be able to do justice to the excitement and the, how expressive he was. A little too expressive for YouTube, I'm afraid. But his issue was basically this: we have a government in Washington, and we like to think that there's political parties, Republicans and Democrats, but there are no Republicans and Democrats. It's just a uniparty. Those people all are there, and we are here. And what they'll do every once in a while is they'll have an outlier, some guy who's really leans one way heavy or the other heavy way, and they do that to keep the drama alive. But in reality, they're all acting in concert. And the reason that you know this is because every time just before Christmas, 535 of these people and a president and a vice president all collude on some omnibus bill, some gigantic omnibus spending bill. This time it's $1.7 trillion, a number that we shouldn't even be hearing. We shouldn't be hearing the word trillion. It's absurd. The amount of money that all 535 of these people pretty much agreed that, they do this, they do it. It's a 4,000-page document. Nobody's read it. They do it just before Christmas, and by the time the first of the year comes, all these laws are changed. You don't even know where you stand. Businesses don't know what to do. Individuals don't know what to do. But the legislature sure does know what they've done. And they all get together, and they don't care about us. It's them and it's us. There is no right and left. There is no Republicans and Democrats. It's a uniparty. They are them. They have their own little 10-mile square fiefdom, which you're not allowed to do anything there. You'd be in trouble if you raise your voice over there. So they have this, we have what we have, and there's absolutely no accountability. There's nobody that can say, wait, stop. This is too much. You've gone too far. This is crazy. They do this whether we like it or not. Now, his point was they like to keep us off balance with this left and right stuff. And in reality, in our natural lives, we don't have this. I love all my neighbors. I have wonderful neighbors of all. I live in a highly integrated neighborhood. I live in a diverse economic, some people are doing better than others. It's real middle class here. And we don't have problems with each other. There's nobody, raising a fist or anything. So you see this in the news. It's blown way out of proportion. And they do this to keep us all off balance. Now, he believed, and I believe right along with him, that there are some things that everybody agrees on. We all want less crime. We all want better education for our kids. These are things that we all agree on. There are some things that we might not agree on, and they bring them right to the news every night. But there are a lot of things that we all agree on. And he decided to make an example, and his example was clean, legal legislation. If you're going to have a bill, before the Congress and signed by the president and everything, it should be a one-item bill. There shouldn't be all kind of extra stuff in there that you don't know what it is and how it got in there and why it pertains to it or something. And they do this. They make a law that has a name, and then there's like any amount, like 20 to 200 to 2,000 other little ancillary, attachments or earmarks or whatever it may be that promote all kinds of spending that we don't understand where it's going, and there's no accountability. So his point was, he's pretty sure that everybody pretty much would like to have clean legislation, pass a clean bill, a one-item bill that we can look at the item and like it or not like it. Now, you probably have other ideas about things that would be universally good, you know? And if you do have those ideas, I'd like you to write them. I usually don't ask people to put comments in chat and stuff like that because I think it's kind of low class. But if you have a great idea of something that you think that, 95% of the population would agree on, just jot it down, and then we'll add it to our own ideas, because we're a community, so we should have this kind of input from you. Now, his point was that if everybody in America, the left and the right, such as they aren't, if they all got together and said, look, we want all 535 of you to understand that we want this. His example was clean legislation, one item legislation. He imagines that most people understand that issue and that they would want to agree if asked. Sometimes they have these surveys that don't ask the right questions, right? So if everybody got together and unilaterally, the Republicans and the Democrats and the Green Party and the Libertarians and everybody, they said, look, we all want this. His conjecture is they still won't do it because they don't work for you and they don't like you and they don't want to hear from you. And he says, I guarantee they would never do it. Even if it was national news, even everybody in the country all got together, it became the only issue, they still wouldn't do it. And he says this would really prove just how big the difference is, just how we are a group, are my neighbors and everybody, we're a community, we all have the same hopes and dreams, right? They're not responsive to us. You can tell just by the condition of our roads. So this is what he said, and I agree with that. He says, I guarantee they'll never do it. They'll never. If the whole country asked for clean legislation, they still wouldn't do it. They'd be defiant and they would, disdain you, and that's how it would be. So, this is what he talked about real passionately. We talked about it together real passionately. And he asked me if I would put this idea out there because he's interested to see what other ideas people might have that he thinks that everybody would want so we could unify as a country. This guy was promoting unity here, right? Something we haven't had for quite a few terms. And like since World War II, basically. And even then, it was a big division of opinions on that. But one thing I want to say at the end of this right now is that things happen in Washington, D.C. that are reprehensible. And everybody always says, well, we have to investigate this. Now, that's a lie. They're not going to investigate it. And if they do investigate it, there will be no results. So they use an expression called get to the bottom of it. One of my favorite people on TV that I watch, he always wants to get to the bottom of everything, And we're going to get to the bottom of it. But we don't like to use the word truth because it's been abused now to the point where it's meaningless. But in Washington, D.C., they never get to the bottom of anything. And that is the truth. Just think of the last thing they really got to the bottom of, right? These things aren't concluded. They never get to the bottom of anything, and that's the truth. And because of that, there is no truth.